everyone's doing well today. This is again part of our Etude series where we work etude by etude through different books, connecting you with different ideas and things you should be working on throughout. So this is going to be number 3 in the 70 Progressive Studies for Bass Trombone by Gillis. As always, check out the description below. You're going to find a couple different things. First off, you're going to see a link to the book if you don't have a copy already. Second thing you're going to find is a link to my warm-up book, which is the warm-up book, letting you know how to play the horn, how to warm up each and every day. Lastly, you're going to find timestamps to be able to move through this video. As always, be divided into 3 sections. Firstly, we will talk through some different sections of the piece, kind of in a lesson style. Second, we're going to count through a little bit of the piece itself. And then last but not least, we'll play top to bottom with no breaks as a performance. So let's get started. Here we go, number 3 out of the Gillis. As always, make sure you have numbers on your measures so that we can work together. So the first place we're going to check in this one is going to be measure number 5. What we're listening for is these dotted 8/16 notes. For many of you, you're going to be very tempted to turn them into triplets, where we get a little bit of a piratey, like yo-ho, yo-ho, yo-ho kind of feel, instead of being able to hear the precision of 1E and a 2. All right, so we're going to just play the first 3 beats on this, and on this measure, and make sure we're really precise with our dotted 8/16, a little bit under tempo as always as well. So let's try it out. Here we go, measure number 5. Alright, again, in your mind, you should be thinking 1E and a 2E and a 3. I'm already getting ahead of myself in counting, but it is that important. This is also not unique to Gillis. The idea of being able to separate the difference between 8th notes, triplets, and dotted 8/16 is perhaps the number 1 weakness in many young players, and it is going to be something that will become a problem for you as you continue through in auditions, competitions, and otherwise. So always be careful to look at that. Now let's jump ahead to measure number 8, last measure on the second line. Here we're going to have a combination of both the dotted 8/16 and then a nice ascending line off of our lowest note in the piece, which is going to be our low F. We want to make sure we have a lot of power and confidence coming into that low note, and that we drive through and connect the notes as we do the ascending line. We don't want to get choppy. We want good separation between notes, but we don't want choppy notes in themselves. So we want good length and good separation for the balance and style we're looking for, but still the clarity and the quality that we also demand of ourselves. So let's jump into measure number 8. Here we go. Whole thing, top to bottom. Again, a little bit under tempo. Now, for some of you, in the different parts of the piece, you may find that you're a little bit tempted not to take every breath available to you. I want you to make sure that every time you have a chance to breathe that you take it. So in this measure, specifically here, measure number 8, you will breathe after the 8th note, between the 8th note and the 16th note low F on beat 3. Each and every breath counts, because we're not focusing on just can we get through these 3 lines in the Gillis book, but how does this then translate into an excerpt or a solo or something else we're playing? So don't cut corners on the etudes or your warm-ups or things like that, because they will come to haunt you later. Now, let's move into our last section in this piece. We're going to look at, as always, on the last 3 of these different etudes, we've always tackled the last measure. So we're going to continue that trend here. This is measure number 12. So 2 things we're focusing on for this. We have a nice descending line. We want to make sure that even though it's going to be somewhat easy to play, we need to blow straight through that, connecting the notes. Again, same style, same separation, same bounce. And then as we get down to that low F, we need to make sure we have a really nice clean articulation so that we don't let it get mushy or wiggly on us. We want it to be very precise, very clean, and the same fantastic quality as the rest of our notes. So let's try it out. Here we go. Last measure, measure number 12. Now, one thing we're going to be also tempted a little bit in the Gillis book is going to be to chop some of our low range notes off a little bit shorter than some of the others. So make sure we are getting a nice full quality note, full value, and not getting choppy with any of it. Now, one other thing to keep in mind as we move through this Gillis book. Number 3 is going to show up throughout the rest of the etude book in multiple other keys. So one thing I also want you to keep in mind is as you're working through these etudes, make sure that you're taking the time to slow things down, really work on the quality, the style, whatever it is you need to work on, so that you do things right the first time and we don't continuously fight the same issues and problems as we move through the book over and over again. There are so many exciting things for us to work on. We don't have time to be continuously beating up on the same things over and over again. So take your time, be patient, and don't just rush through these. All right, now let's move into the next section of our work here, we're going to move into some counting. We're going to count through the first couple lines. Now, as always, we will count subdivisions. So for instance, when we get to the third beat of the first measure, we're going to count that as 3, and then we will also count it as 4 as a dotted quarter note, and then continue on from there. For those of you that are a little uncomfortable with our counting, 16th notes, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 8th notes, 1 and 2 and as we go. Now, always be sure you check your key clef and time. We're in 4/4 common time, so 4 beats in the measure. Quarter note gets the beat. Here we go. Let's get started. If you're comfortable singing, definitely sing. If you're not, try it on just a single pitch, but count, count, count. Here we go. From the top. All right, here we go. 1, 2, and ready and count. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and a 1 E and a 2 and 3, 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and. Now, as you continue counting through this, you can even subdivide things like the dotted A16th notes. It's going to be a lot easier to hear that as 1 E and a 2 versus just trying to go 1, a 2. The dead space, the lack of subdivision is going to make any kind of rhythm like that more difficult. So work on your subdivision of anything from dotted quarters, dotted half notes, dotted A16th rhythms. All right, now let's move into the third section. Let's play top to bottom. Again, when we go into this full run through, we're in a performance mindset. We are performers. So we have one shot to do this. No regrets, no mistakes, no going back. Top to bottom with a focus on our priorities. How do we sound? Is our style and our musicality entertaining to the audience around us? And are we putting on a great show? So focus on good rhythm, making sure we have good length on those low notes, blowing straight through and connecting our notes. Good note length, good note separation as well. Here we go. Top to bottom. Let's perform. Let's get to work. Even for me, I noticed a couple notes that I wasn't super thrilled about, a little sticky valve here or there. It's okay to recognize that there's things you want to improve on, but again, in that performance mindset, never stop, keep going no matter what. So, as always, if these videos are giving you help or working well for you, make sure you give us a subscribe, make sure you hit the like button, comment below. If there's any questions you have, you can always also reach out to us and choose the DM. Check us out on other social media platforms at High Impact Low Brass, and we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.